Jay's Custom Creations is sponsored by Bits and Bits. Use the code JBates to save 10% off your next router bit or CNC bit purchase at bitsbits.com. TLDR version, too long didn't read. I'm going to raffle off 2 premium hand saws. All of the proceeds are going to go to a wonderful charity, the Purple Heart Project, for combat wounded warriors to get into hand tool woodworking. So that's the short version of it. Before I get into the specifics about the saw, specifics about the Purple Heart Project, I want to share with you my little journey into hand tool woodworking. So I really got into woodworking 2008, 9-ish, sometime around then. And it wasn't until 2016 that I decided, you know what, I want to see what all the fuss is about with these traditional hand tool workbenches, traditional woodworking workbenches. You know, previous to that, 2016, I had one of these Polk style assembly tables. I put a big vise on one side. I could do a lot with it. Why do I need a hand tool workbench? Why do I need something like solid like this when this does everything that I need it to do? So I looked at different designs on building a workbench, and what I settled on was a French design. It's kind of funny. People say that this is like the J. Bates workbench, which is flattering, but it's incorrect. This is a French design workbench. Nothing specific to me. It's a French design. So I built this workbench. It's got a big, thick top, big joinery from the legs to the top, big joinery from the rails. It's a very solid structure. It doesn't bounce back when you chisel on it. It doesn't rack at all when you interact laterally with wood on top of this. It is a solid structure that has taken quite a bit of abuse. So I built this workbench, and I finally experienced, that's why these workbenches are so popular in the woodworking world. It's a fantastic tool to help you do woodworking more efficiently. It makes sense. So then I started to go down the rabbit hole that is hand tool woodworking. I got a couple planes, and then you got to learn how to sharpen the planes. And then I got some different chisels and made my own chisel handles. And then it wasn't until I think the early part of 2017, maybe it was late 2016. Anyway, I went to a location that had a woodworking store. I live in Mississippi, and at the time, 0 woodworking stores. Yeah, of course, you have a tool section at your local Lowe's, but that's mainly contractor stuff. It's not stuff that's focused or specialized in woodworking. So we go to this meetup in Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham, Alabama happens to have a Woodcraft. My very first venture into a store specifically set up for woodworking, or specifically targeting woodworkers. And first time in there, you know, I'm a kid in a candy store. There's all kinds of fun things to look at, and that's over my budget. That's way over my budget. There's all these fun things to look at. You see these different power tools in person for the first time. Powermatic this, or Jet that, or whatever the tools were. You get to see these for the first time in person. And I'm going up and down the aisles many times. And as I'm turning this aisle, I won't forget, it was on an end cap. Bottom shelf, I see this box with finger joints, and it says, Rob Cosman. And I thought, oh, buddy, that's got to be one of Rob Cosman's Dovetail saws. I've seen all of Rob's videos at the time. I saw the videos of him going through the manufacturing process where they make these hand saws. Saw all kinds of Rob's content, and he struck me as somebody who, just a down-to-earth guy who conveys information very, very well. So I was already a fan of Rob Cosman's content, and here he is. Here's one of his saws. All right, so I just went down starting to go down this hand tool woodworking rabbit hole, and I see the benefits of having a really, really nice workbench. What are the benefits of having a really, really nice hand saw? So I was like, okay, it's a little over budget. Can't buy it right now. Walked around. The second time I saw that box, I was like, don't pick it up, because if you pick it up, you're going to buy it. So I walk around a little bit more. And of course, I'm with several other people, and they're taking their time as well. So we're all seeing the store many, many times. The third time, I remember specifically walked around, and I'm like, if you pick it up, you're going to buy it. So I picked it up. I was like, okay, whatever, let's do this. I'm going to buy it. And I remember getting home and being really excited to open this box. It's kind of weird. Like, I'm an adult, but I got that Christmas morning excitement. And I open the box and I start making some cuts. I put some wood in the vise and I was like, all right, let's just cut a dovetail joint. I don't think at that point had ever cut one. So I was like just freehanding everything, just making a bunch of cuts. I'm like, wow, this is really nice. This saw, the first impression with the saw is it's heavy. There's a lot of heft to it. And I'm making the cut and it's cutting straight. I'm trying to figure out my body language making this cut, and it was a fun experience. It was a fun process, like a little milestone moment on my woodworking journey. So another thing that makes this dovetail saw great is, I don't know if you're familiar with this particular saw. It's the Rob Cosman dovetail saw, but it's got 2 inches of fine teeth, and then the rest of it a little bit more aggressive teeth. So this first 2 inches is 22 teeth per inch. I think that's what it is. Yes, 22 teeth per inch, and the rest is 12 teeth per inch. So as you start your cut, the 22 teeth per inch allow you to very carefully and delicately, start the kerf. Once the kerf is established in the location that you want, then you can power through with the more aggressive teeth. It's a very interesting and practical design. I really, really like that. So anyway, my hand tool journey, I kept going down the hand tool rabbit hole for the majority of the next year or so, learning all foundational skills with hand tools. And if you've never been interested in hand tools, I encourage you to take a dive down, like I said, the rabbit hole that is hand tool woodworking. Learning these foundational skills will help you regardless of where your woodworking journey takes you. Currently, I'm heavily invested into the CNC world of woodworking, but I wouldn't give up these skills for anything because they're very beneficial for basically everything that you do. And recently, let me back up a little bit before that, before getting into this other workbench. So 2019-ish, Rob Cosman reached out to me via email, and he said, hey, I saw my saw up on your wall. I assume it's the dovetail saw. I would love to send you the companion to that saw, which is the Crosscut saw. I think it's the Journeyman Crosscut saw. And, the only thing I ask is, if you don't mind, just give a little bit of promotion to the saws and let people know that when you purchase one of these saws, some of the proceeds of that goes to the Purple Heart Project, and it's a fantastic charity to really help wounded warriors and whatnot. And if you could just give it a shout out or so, I'd appreciate that. And I thought, yeah, absolutely, no problem at all. What a kind gesture. Well, that was 2019. My daughter was born in late 2018. Also, I got my first CNC machine, and my woodworking journey kind of snaked away from hand tools. And all of my hand tools for quite a while, unfortunately, were kind of out of sight, out of mind. And it wasn't until, I still use my hand tools occasionally here and there, but it wasn't like a specific focus of my woodworking. It wasn't until late last year, 2023, that I built a workbench for my daughter, and she started using it, and then she wants to experiment with hand tools. She says, Dad, is there another tool I can try? That's her way of asking for something else to experiment with. And absolutely. So I'm going through all my hand tools, and she's trying them out on her workbench. And then I personally go down the hand tool rabbit hole once again. I'm getting sucked back into hand tools, doing what I call daily dovetails, which will be another video I'll challenge you on in, I guess, the next video. So I'm working with hand tools quite a bit more frequently than what is displayed in these videos. And then it hits me like a ton of bricks. I never upheld my end of the bargain to Rob. He did something that was very kind. He sent me a saw, simply asking to highlight these saws and let people know that, hey, some of the proceeds of these sales go to this wonderful charity. And man, talk about deflating. Like, I wasn't the man of my word with this agreement. That sucks. Man, caught myself in a sticky situation. That really sucks. So as I'm messing with these hand tools and having a lot of fun with them again, how can I make it better? How can I, as was it Gary Vee says, 51-49. You always give 51% and you'll get 49 in return. Well, how can I one up what I said I was going to do and I actually never did? Okay, so I had this idea. Why don't I do a raffle to raffle away these two saws? we can raise way more money than what the value of these two saws is, and hopefully give all that money to the Purple Heart Project and hopefully help out way more in the long run than simply talking about these saws like the original, like I originally said I would. All right, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to raffle off these saws, and then I start using them, cutting more dovetails, and then I'm out here the next day cutting some more stuff, out here the next day cutting some more stuff, just kind of honing some skills once again. And then I have that moment of selfishness of like, this is like a milestone moment for me. This dovetail saw, this opened up so many thoughts and doors for me, and I've done so much quality work with this saw. And then this other saw, this was a gift. This was a gift from somebody who I think is a fantastic craftsman and fantastic instructor and is just doing a lot of really good stuff. This is a gift. I'm being completely selfish, but I don't want to raffle these off now. Back into square one. What do I do? Well, I ended up purchasing 2 brand new saws. So in this box is the Joinery Crosscut. I don't know why I've been calling it Journeyman. Joinery Crosscut saw. Sorry about that. And then also a brand new dovetail saw. I was going to open them out of these boxes and show you like, ooh, shiny new tool, brand new saw. However, they are in a sealed, padded envelope, and I think whoever gets them should be the first one to open them. So rather than raffling off mine, I don't want to part with these. They're fantastic tools, and I want to keep them forever. I purchased 2 brand new ones, and that's what the raffle is going to be. Whoever wins the raffle will get both of these shipped directly to them, and that's that. So all of the proceeds all the money we're going to raise from this raffle, all of it's going to go to the Purple Heart Project. If you're not familiar with the Purple Heart Project, you can go to Rob Cosman's YouTube channel, robcosman.com, his website. There's links all over the place on all of his content where you can find out more about the Purple Heart Project. But I do want to share with you the mission statement, the vision, and how do they accomplish their mission. You can find this on thepurpleheartproject.org. So what is the mission of the Purple Heart Project, PHP? The Purple Heart Project's mission is to introduce physically and mentally combat wounded warriors still suffering from the negative side effects of combat to the peace and joy that can be found through the therapy of traditional hand tool woodworking. That's a wonderful mission statement. What is the vision of PHP? We envision a community of combat wounded warriors that share the joy and peace found through the bond of woodworking, are connected for life, and know that they are supported and never forgotten. Well, how do you accomplish this? So how does the Purple Heart Project actually function? How does it work? The Purple Heart Project accomplishes our mission by providing selected combat wounded warriors with a PHP scholarship to attend one of Rob Cosman's Training the Hand workshops. Selected combat wounded warriors are fully funded for travel, per diem, and tuition to attend Rob Cosman's week-long Training the Hand workshops, where they learn the skills of hand tool woodworking. So no expenses to the people who get involved with this, who are selected in this program. They receive a full hand tool kit. They receive a full kit of tools, about $2,000 worth of tools. That's awesome. And a custom-built workbench and continuing support when they return home. So real quick on the workbench, that's another way that you can support the Purple Heart Project if you'd like to, without a direct monetary contribution. So I had to screenshot this because I forgot to print it off. The Bench Brigade today. Today, Jack Lane coordinates an ever-growing pool of bench builder volunteers who make up the Bench Brigade, mostly in Canada and the United States, but a growing number of international volunteers as well. Jack matches up a volunteer who is located near the hometown of a PHP selectee, and he or she builds a custom workbench and then delivers the bench to the PHP selectee. These deliveries can get quite emotional, I would imagine so, and are as satisfying for the volunteer and as it is welcomed by the Purple Heart Project Scholarship selectee. So if you don't have the means to contribute a direct financial contribution, there's other ways that you can get involved, building a workbench for somebody else who goes through this program. That's pretty cool, and I definitely wanted to note that as well. If you would like to participate and purchase one of the raffle tickets, you can do so on my website. I'll have a link down in the description below. If you want to find out more information about the Purple Heart Project, or maybe even sign up for the Bench Brigade, you can go to thepurpleheartproject.org. Wanted to make sure that the was there or not. Thepurpleheartproject.org, and find out as much information as you need over there. You can go to robcosman.com if you want to find out more about Rob and everything that he's doing. I think that's it. You guys take care, have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.